Bricktopian. Hello everyone, it's Bricktopian here. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'll be discussing the leak for the new LEGO minifigure series. It is series 26 and it is completely space themed. There's some really great figures here, although the main thing I noticed about this is there's not a classic space minifigure. There is a classic space baby in this series, but there isn't a complete classic space astronaut. But anyway, the first figure you get is one of someone who has been taken over, controlled by little nanofig aliens, and their head has a picture of a alien on it to show that they're inside. I really like this detail, and I really like the hairpiece that's got the radar on the top. I don't know if that's one piece or if it's supposed to be two pieces. I think it might be one piece this time, but I'm not sure. The torso and legs are pretty simple, but I feel like that's good in some ways because it makes it feel like it's just a regular person who's being controlled, and it would be useful for lots of other things if you wanted to use this figure for its parts. The second figure I really like a lot. I actually think the legs are brand new, and they're like a brand new mold, and they actually remind me of the robot from the original Lost in Space TV series. I don't know why, but maybe you can see that. I don't know, but I think it actually looks like that, and even the torso does a little bit. I think this figure's great though for those legs, and I think the transparent green part for the dome around the head I think is really nice as well to get it in that colour, because we usually only get it in the regular transparent. This is like a little chef though, so he comes with a whisk and a pot, and he's cooking something. The third one is good, but it is very similar to one that they did before, a male version of, although that was in different colours. And I do like that we're getting the skirt piece in the lilac-y colour. But the best part is probably the robot dog of the French Bulldog piece. And it's nice because it's sort of metallic. But I do think it would have been better if we got a brand new dog mold for robot dog though. It does seem a little bit lazy that they've just used the French Bulldog piece again and reprinted it. Like, we could have got something completely unique that looks a bit more robotic. So to me, although I love robot dogs, I think it is a slight letdown. Although it is good we're still getting some representation of a robot dog. The next one is the M-Tron one. I don't really have much attachment to M-Tron. I just know that the M in M-Tron stands for magnetic. So it's very good that they could at least have some sort of figure here that sort of captures that magnetic vibe. I don't know why it does, but it sort of does with that accessory and sort of the backpack it's got on. But obviously there isn't going to be actual magnets, so it is very hard to achieve that. But I don't really know exactly what that printed tile on it is supposed to represent, but I'm wondering if that is supposed to be some kind of new representation of a magnet. The next one is the one with a UFO piece as the head, and I'm really interested to know how they've attached that. Is the transparent dome piece and the silver part one piece in this case? Because it doesn't look like the regular transparent dome piece because it hasn't got like gaps at the bottom, and it's also not a regular dish piece because there's enough room for the head to still attach to the neck. But it must be quite thin, that dish piece, because otherwise how would the neck have enough grip to hold the head on while keeping it inside? I don't know. But I really like the torso and legs with the printed star pattern. I think it actually looks really majestic. And I feel like that they could include this as an extra figure with the new solar system Lego art set they're going to do. They could include an extra figure to go with that, and they could like use these parts for that. I think that would look really fun. But it's an alright figure. I wouldn't say it blows me away. I think it's more fun as individual parts rather than as a figure as a whole. But the next one is probably my favourite of the whole series, and that's the Alien Tourist one. I just love the Hawaiian shirt design, especially with the heart with the I Love Earth on. And this figure kind of reminds me of Paul from the sci-fi comedy film Paul that stars Simon Pegg. I don't know why it reminds me of the character Paul. It also reminds me of stuff like the alien from American Dad, but I'd say it reminds me of Paul more. I love that it comes with a camera as well, and I feel like this would look great in any Lego city. It would just be so fun to like think there's an alien just visiting, and like people are so distracted by what's going on they don't even notice that there's an alien like in the city. And like you could have like a bunch of policeman minifigures like chasing it down, trying to capture it and take it to Area 51. You could just create so many stories with this figure. And I also like that we get the hat piece that was used for the detective figure in the previous series, but now in a azure color. After that, we have a figure that has a lovely head mold. I really like that it's got like 6 eyes, or well, 4 eyes. It's hard to tell if it's. I think it's 4 eyes. It's hard to tell because of the light on the picture, but I think it's got 4 eyes, and it's got this nice mouthpiece. And it reminds me of something from the Insectoids theme from one of the old themes. But it also looks a bit like Galaxy Squad as well. I like the legs. They are like the ones from the Fawn minifigure they did ages ago, which have also been used for other things since, such as for the Demogorgon figure from Stranger Things, and also for I think it was used for the one of the Troll minifigures in one of the previous series recently. It comes with like these berries. Well, it's the ice cream piece that they've used in purple, and it's on a purple leaf, but I feel like it's supposed to represent like berries or something, maybe blueberries or some kind of weird food that this creature eats, because it's supposed to be some sort of insect, I guess, by the mouth. And I like that they've also used the wing attachment on its back that is from the Ladybug minifigure that they did before. It looks like it's printed just in blue. I don't know if it's going to be plain on the back or if it's going to have printing detail. Hopefully it'll have printing, but I can't be sure. But this is probably one of my other favourites. I would say out of the ones I've said so far, my favourites are the Chef Robot, the Alien Tourist, and the insect looking one. But after that is my least favourite one of the whole series, which is the plain city-style astronaut. It's such a waste that this is a city figure. I do like the printed 1x1 round tile with the camera representation, and it's nice that it's got like a jetpack style feel to the accessories and everything. But it just seems such a waste to have this figure because it's so easy to get in other things. And it's very plain, and it uses a lot of the same parts as other city figures as well. They could have at least given us some extra arm printing. I mean, it's got a little bit of arm printing, I think, from what I can see, but I wish it had more. And the legs are very basic to me. I feel like this figure should have been replaced with a classic space new coloured astronaut, perhaps a teal one or a dark red one or a gold one. They could have done that. It would have been so much better. It's just so silly they had room in this series for that, but not a new coloured classic space one. I get partly they didn't want to include a new colour because they did do the brown one in one of the recent other series, but I still would rather just have a new colour than have this generic city one. After this, you got an Ice Planet one. I really love the Ice Planet one, especially for the penguin, which is obviously not a new mold, but it's like a new print. And the chainsaw is back in trans orange, and I just love that piece in general. I think transparent elements in Lego always look cool to me, and the chainsaw is such an iconic symbol of Ice Planet. But you also get on the armor of this figure, you get a nice Ice Planet logo, and the head mold is new as well. I think it's a visor because I believe you get a red hairpiece that comes with this figure as well that you can swap over. So it is an actual helmet as opposed to an actual complete head, this visor you see. But it's a great piece, and I like how it's got the orange detailing on it. The main torso underneath on this figure, though, you can't really see that much. You can see the belt section, but you can't see the whole thing. You also don't get much look at the legs, but it looks like the legs might be quite plain. Another thing I noticed is the chainsaw itself. It looks like it's got a brand new piece that's holding that transparent orange part for the chainsaw. It looks like it's like a stud that's got a modified bar on it. It looks like just like a 1x1 stud, yeah, that has a bar, comes out of it and goes downwards. I don't know if that's a new piece, but to me it looks like a brand new piece, but I could be wrong. And it also uses one of them fairly new curved snot bricks, 1x1 snot bricks, that they haven't used in many sets, that's been in like the Speed Champion stuff, and that's in a light blue. So that's nice to get that piece in a minifigure series. After that one, you have the Blacktron 2 minifigure. I actually really love the fact that it's like an infected figure and that only half of the figure is normal. I actually think it's more exciting that it's half and half. I think if it had been all one or the other, it wouldn't have been as fun. So you actually get a minifigure with 3 arms for the first time. They've never done that. They've only ever done minifigures with 1 arm, 2 arms, or 4 arms. This is the first time ever getting a minifigure that's got 3 arms, because it's got the dual arm on the left side, and it has 2 guns as well. Bit like what they did with the Stitch minifigure from the latest of the Disney series, where it's got two guns in two hands. Um, this sort of reminds me of District 9, the film District 9, where he gets infected by the aliens. I know it's not really similar to that, but that's the first thing I thought of. Probably because I love that film, but it just sort of reminded me of that. And then the next figure after this one is the Orion one. I think it's supposed to be Orion. It looks like it has the Orion constellation on the shield, which is really great. And I love how many transparent elements are on this, or translucent, should I say. The hairpiece and the head especially is fantastic. I just love translucent minifigures, especially stuff like the blueberry one from the Lego video theme. Although I wasn't a huge fan of the video sets, I thought that figure from that theme was a really great figure. And I love some other transparent style figures as well that Lego's done. It comes with a club though. I'm not really sure what the club is for. I don't know if it's just, if there's a reason they picked a club. I don't know. I'm not too up to date on like the different um representations of constellations and things and what their symbolism is for everything. I don't know, but it's still a nice piece, and they have used it before, I think, for the caveman figures back in a previous series from ages ago, but they've never used it in a transparent color before, I don't think. The legs are also mostly translucent too. The torso looks sort of interesting, I guess. It's got like armor on it, so it looks kind of good, but the torso's a little bit plain for what I'd like, but it's pretty good. And then the last one out of all these figures is the Nurse one, Space Nurse. I'm not a huge fan of the figure itself, although I like the hair for anime figures or for sci-fi figures or for cyberpunk figures in that nice blue colour. I think that looks really great. But the figure itself is a great concept, I think. It's fun. It's something they haven't really done before, but it's just too much white, I think, especially on the legs. It just looks a bit too plain. If it was a different colour, perhaps it wouldn't feel as plain, although white does make sense for a nurse. But the Space Baby minifigure in pink for the first time is a really nice surprise, and I'm really glad they include that, because even though we don't get a proper spaceman in this series, we do get a Space Baby, so it's not all bad. And I do really like pink as a choice. I think it would have made more sense if they perhaps picked one of the other more common classic space colours, like perhaps a red one, because they've only done a blue one and a white one so far, so perhaps red or yellow would have made more sense. But I do really like the pink one, and I think it's a nice contrast to the blue one, so it's like the perfect contrast in that sense. So I'm really glad they did this, and I think that this series is one of the best so far. I'm sort of keep changing my mind on that because there's a lot of great parts here, but some of the figures as a whole perhaps are not as great as they should be. But I still think that for the most part, this is a good idea, and I'm glad that they did this. But I think that the first figure I mentioned, the one with the antennae on the top, I think would be really good if they include an extra piece of those nanofigs so that you got three of them, because sometimes you do get spare pieces with figures. And I think that'd be really fun for making a micro scale Lego city, which is what I might do. I might put them in like a brick built UFO. Perhaps you could even use the UFO headpiece from the other figure in this series that has the stars on the torso and legs. Perhaps use the headpiece from that figure and put one of these little nanofigs inside. That would be really fun. You could have like a little micro scale UFO flying around a micro scale sea. I think that'd be really fun. But yeah, I'd say there's mostly good figures here. I really love the insectoids inspired one. I really love the alien tourist. I really like the ice planet one, the Blacktron one, the robot chef, and I really like some of the individual elements of some of the others, like the robot dog, the transparent elements on the constellation one, the space baby, and I really like the dish element on the UFO type one, and the Mtron one. I quite like the torso. So yeah, there's some really great pieces here, and I think it's good. But they could have done better by adding a classic space one, and yeah, taking out the Lego City style one. I think they didn't need that, and it's just something that people are not going to really want too much. And if you buy like a whole load of these at random, because they're in boxes and not in packaging, in normal packaging anymore, they're still doing boxes. If you was to get loads of these, it would become a bit annoying. And even the parts, like as individual parts, wouldn't be that useful for mocks either. So But I think this series has loads of great ones for making army building, especially the one I said about the Insectoids one, the Blacktron one, the Ice Planet one, the Mtron one, and possibly even the Space Lady one with the robot dog. Even that one, possibly. I feel like all of those, well, even maybe the one with the antennae is possible. You could have like an army of people being controlled, but they would look all the same, so I don't know if it'd work. But yeah, I'd say there's quite a few here that could be used for army building, which is always nice for certain collectors to try and get. But then there's a few that obviously wouldn't work for army building, like the Space Tourist, or or the Constellation one, or the Space Nurse. Them ones wouldn't, but there's quite a few here that would work. But anyway, that's just my thoughts on this minifigure series reveal. I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe for more videos, and see you again in the next one. Goodbye.